Hello, hello, hello. I am finally getting settled for the evening and I am making a video for you with my Donald Trump t-shirt. Donald Trump is my president. Yes. For the rest of my life. Yes. Yes, he's awesome. I know that almost nobody agrees with me from those people that I talk to, but it doesn't matter, okay, because I know what is right and I know what is wrong. I know what is up. I know what is down. I know what is good. I know what is bad. Okay. And I make that decision for myself. I discern that for myself. I don't need someone else to tell me. I don't need the news to tell me who is right, who is wrong, who is good, who is bad. Okay. I don't need that in my life. I think for myself. I'm a free thinker, free speaker. Okay. So I wished other people could do the same thing. That would be really, really, really fantastic. And that's my artwork. It's real, real, real pretty and gorgeous. Yes. And it radiates love. It glows. It glows love. And here is the baby dog coming now, and he's going to jump on the keyboards. I think, I'm afraid that he might. So, yes, we're making a video together now. Yes, we are. Yes, we are making a video together. Yes, you and I together forever, forever and ever. You are my everything. Yes, and he has about the same, exact same color as that rug. Almost the same color. Yes, that's a beautiful color. That's a beautiful color. Yes, that is a very beautiful color. A beautiful, beautiful beige. Yes, I love a god. Yes, I do. I do. I do. I do. I do. Okay, so today I want to talk about how women feel, how I feel, okay, in all of this, with all of the hate and the bullying, and I already talked about the men walking their own way yesterday or the day before yesterday. I talked about this several times in my videos, and I think it's important to talk about this. Yes, I'm worried that he might. Yes, he might jump now. Yes, I can see he is gonna jump. Yes, he is gonna jump. So I have to get the spray bottle. I gotta get the spray bottle. I have to get this. I have to get the spray bottle. Yes, that's what I have to do. I don't have any other choice, my beautiful fool. Yeah, I don't have. I don't have any other choice left here. That is my only chance in the world to make the video smooth. He left now. No, I could tell he was about to jump on the bed now. And then he would jump on the keyboard and do this here. And then he would jump up and down and on top of me and scratch me accidentally and all of this. So that's why I have a spray bottle here. And it works, spray bottle works for an Amstaff, American Staffordshire Terrier, making a video right now. Yay! Okay. So, but anyway, I want to talk about the emotions of women because I see that most men do not seem to understand how women feel, And it seems like most men aren't interested even in how women feel. Most men view women as a possession, as like a rubber ducky or something, or they view them like the the pink rubber hammer from Paul Pelosi or whatever, from his boyfriend. So most men view women as some kind of fun toy. Okay, so to toy around with, and they're not interested in how they feel, and they don't even want to hear how they feel. And so the women feel ignored, they feel not understood, they don't feel listened to. And that's what I'm feeling, okay? Also with Paul, a lot of times, even though Paul is not a cluster B, but this phenomenon with men not understanding women, that spans over many different type of psychology cluster groups. Yeah. So that spans over cluster A as well, cluster C, drug addicts, and so on, through the entire spectrum, except for those few at one end of the scale, the very few who understand women and who care about women and who want the woman to feel good. Those are very, very rare. Elon Musk is one of those. Captain Paul Watson is one of those from Sea Shepherd. Peter Hammerstedt from Sea Shepherd. So there are not very many people, like from the celebrities that I look at. I don't even know if Lex Friedman is really interested in knowing how a woman feels. So I don't know. I don't really get that impression. So I think he's I think he's very much into what he gets out of it and how he's being perceived by other people. But I don't think his emphasis is very much on how the other person feels. That's just my impression. If that impression is wrong, let me know. Okay, but that's what I see, obviously. So I think he's very arrogant also. I have to talk about my feelings. I'm sorry. I have to talk about how I view things and what I feel and about my struggle. And I think this is very, very important. I do this for myself, but for this video in particular, I am doing this for the guys in the chat room or any of these people, any of them that once in a while watch my video or talk to me on Facebook or YouTube, so, or Twitter, so, or whatever, Truth Social, Truth Social. So there's not that much interaction going on right now on Truth Social. It had just started, it's beginning to pick up now. People are signing up for it. Celebrities are signing up for it, but it's like still at the beginning. So, but it will pick up eventually, and then we will have discussions there, and we will be able to express ourselves the way we feel. And we also can do this on Twitter, of course. And Elon Musk still has to do a whole lot of remodeling and reforming and readjusting on Twitter, because the way it had been run and the way it had been created and set up with the different features was definitely not in favor of the individual person. It was in favor of manipulating the public and in favor of the corporate agenda, not the individual customer, to use that word. Okay, so and Elon Musk is changing that, and he is making it nice now for the individual customer and for every individual person with the way they feel, for their feelings, for feeling better, for feeling good, for being able to share how they feel without being shut up. And he has a very strict policy on no violence. Okay, so he is taking the responsibility that comes with free speech very seriously. Okay, unlike the people that were in Twitter before. And there were a lot of followers of the haters on Twitter, the hater CEOs that were there before. A lot of those that would just do anything for money that worked there, and he had to lay these people off. He had to fire them, kick them out. He had to. He doesn't. Why should he keep these people that have collaborated with the corporate agenda? There's no reason why he should keep those type of people, those hater type of people. No, he had to kick those people out. Okay, they were causing people to feel bad. They were tyrannizing people. They were playing dictator and so on. No, we don't want those. Okay, that's violence. That's a form of violence. Anyone who practices a form of violence gets kicked out of Twitter. Okay, so the good people stay, the people that care, the people who are for justice. Yes, I got the spray bottle here. Yes, I do. So every good person stays, and new good people sign up. Okay, new companies that are better corporations are signing up for advertisement and so on. It will come. So it's very difficult. It's a little rocky in the beginning, but it will get very, very nice. Okay, I know that for sure. So the government is definitely trying their best now to put obstacles into any good person's path and throw any kind of obstacle, any kind of burden, any kind of problem into their ways. Okay? That's what the government, the corporate agenda does. The government is in the hands of the corporate agenda now, 100%. Okay? And they got in fraudulently. Donald Trump had the majority of the votes. Okay? They fought their way in fraudulently. The whole thing is illegal. The whole thing goes against the US laws, also the US Constitution. And as many people said, the United States is basically entering now into the era of corporate dictatorship, just like all the other countries down in South America at the equator that are where the majority of people are for justice, but the government is owned by the corporate agenda and thus overrules the voices of the majority of people. Okay. People see that's not working, this is not going anywhere, but the corporate agenda has total leverage over the government, over the legislative seats, and so on. And then They cause the country basically to collapse under itself, under its own weight. That's what's happening. That's what they're trying to do with the United States. Once it collapses, it might collapse. If we don't get the AGI robots, it might collapse under its own weight of corporate agenda dictatorship. And then, if we're lucky, the Chinese will take over the United States. Okay, make this into China. So, well, there's a lot of people that basically asked for it. So I can say, I told you so, you didn't listen. So I had many discussions with Philip Jones about this on Facebook. He didn't listen to me. I won every argument, of course, because I know about all of that shit and he doesn't. And then he'll succumb and say, okay, boss. I wasn't even trying to be boss, right? So that's how he feels in that moment. So, but he gave me a lot of insights into how the male brain functions, particularly the cluster B male brain. So, and I see this very clearly now. I already talked about this in my other video, what was going on with that Brian. Suddenly he tries to brutally murder this woman he had worked for 2 years as a contractor. Yeah. Most people will say, what the hell is going on in that brain, right? But obviously, there's a whole lot going on in that brain. And they don't talk about this. The cluster Bs don't talk about it because they feel they're too embarrassed to talk about it. Philip Jones is too embarrassed to tell me why he suddenly came onto me in the chat room telling me that he is my boss. He is also my king. Oh, interesting. Okay. And I'm sorry, but when you do these kind of things, first of all, that doesn't work with me. Okay. It might work with someone else. It doesn't work with me, this kind of stuff. Because I am against I am against anyone who puts themselves on a pedestal and says, I am boss or king or whatever. I'm against that. I see through this. I see this comes from feelings of unempowerment. And this is also very much tying into the sadomaso community. They kind of toy around with this kind of stuff in a sexual way, and I think it's very unconscious. All of this comes from childhood trauma. They're very, very unconscious about all of that. But they're like deliberately dwelling in this kind of stuff, while Philip Jones is dwelling in this very unconsciously, as most cluster B people are very, very unconscious about their own brain mechanism, their own psychology, and so on. But back to how we feel, the women. Whether you want to know how we feel or not, I'm going to make the video about this anyway, okay? Because I think it's very important that you learn how the women feel and to demystify and debunk these ideas that men have and that men also hold on to. Their egos also hold on to some weird ideas about women. Like I don't know, I get this impression that they think that that women are arrogant or that they're mysterious. Oh, so mysterious, my goodness. Oh, like a cat, like, whew. Oops, I don't have claws. Oh my goodness. Is that going against your ego construction that you have of women? I had a boyfriend once in LA. He looked at my fingernails and he looked like, why do you have such short fingernails? He likes the long claws. I told him I like short fingernails. If he wants long fingernails, he needs to go to someone else. Sorry. That's how I work, okay? I cannot be pressured by anyone into anything, okay? Just want to make this very crystal clear. Nobody can pressure me into anything, extort me into anything, blackmail me into anything. If you say to me, you like long fingernails on women, you like real wet nail polish and real long claws. So I like, whew, this is that image, the mysterious catty lady. The catty lady that's mean to other women, territorial. Sorry, I have to bust that entire myth. Okay. I am not mean to other women. I'm a feminist, a good one, though. I'm a non-militant feminist. I love other women as I love myself, as I love every living being, okay? I will not claw a woman in the face. I've had a woman claw me in the face literally one time from the Messengers of Light in that Masonic temple. I mean, it wasn't too bad. She didn't leave any scratch marks or anything, but I could feel the tension in her. There was tension. There was jealousy. Oh, now she had this sort of power position as one of the healers. Bro, do I have to remind you, you are one of the healers here. Healers, right? Not the caddy clawing, jealous, right? But obviously she couldn't scratch me all up as she wanted to with the long fingernails, because Latifa was there, the group leader who was running the Messengers of Light. And she knows Latifa is psychic, and Latifa is constantly watching what everyone is doing with every client. So she couldn't. But I could feel the tension in those fingernails as she was healing with the healing touch, running the long fingernails over my face. I could feel the tension and how these fingernails wanted to claw, but she couldn't. What a bummer. Yeah. But anyway, that's not me, okay? I don't function like this, okay? I have short fingernails, and with these short, soft paws, I will go into the face of a woman, and I will do this here with your face, real gently. You will not feel my fingernail patina at all, because I cut them way down, as you can see, okay? And I will pet you like this here. Sandy, and every nice woman, not the one with the long, mean claws that wanted to scratch me. No, you don't get to be petted by me, by my soft paws. You were mean to me, so but all the good women like Sandy, They will get petted by me like this in this nice ASMR. Get petted, 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 like this. As we did also, for example, at my yoga teacher Heidi's studio in Germany. Heidi, friend of my parents, very, very wonderful woman who got into Buddhism and yoga because she was worried about her son getting into drugs and all of that. Her son was a punk. We were hanging out in the same bar. And my mother was worried for the same thing with me, hanging out with the wrong people. But my mother didn't get into yoga and Buddhism. That would be too strange. How can you expect someone get into something so strange? No, that's not strange. And Heidi knew that. So Heidi got into yoga. She had a studio with unbelievably amazing paintings that were the size they were like, and the ceilings were very high. Very, very large yoga room with incredible rugs that resembled the paintings, were total match to the paintings. The rugs were like they had these long fibers, very condensed, and the rugs looked like a Jackson Pollock, and the paintings looked like Jack, but it wasn't Jackson Pollock. I mean, that would be way too expensive. So, but that was, I think it was a Russian artist. I might be wrong, but that was more local, not like from overseas, but more of a local, some kind of local artist, but a great one, modern artist. And the paintings, they weren't exactly like Jackson Pollock's. They were definitely not an imitation, but it was going in that direction, let's put it that way. But they were amazing. Absolutely, they radiate amazing nature energy. Like really, really fantastic. All these paintings all around us. And then we were sitting in pairs, and I was sitting there with another lady, another girl. We were very young at that time, and Heidi had us pick up sticks like they were made out of some kind of bamboo, and I talked about this before, we would be patting each other's face like that. One half of the face, like this, with the bamboo stick. And then we would sit and meditate, and we would watch. You can already see, like, if you do this for a while, one half of the face will get very circulated. You see that this facial side is more circulated now than the other is. So it's very nice. It's very nice practice, yoga practice. And then we take turns, and then the other person does the other person's half of the face like this. And then we meditate again, and then the other person does the other half of the other person's face. It was very, very, very nice. I'll never forget that. It's wonderful. So no, I am a lover, and I'm a giver, and I love all beings, and I love women, and I love women non-sexually. I just want to make this very clear. I am fully straight. Okay. I am, and it is a tricky situation because it would be so much easier to just have a woman friend and have that cover all of your needs, but this doesn't work for a fully straight woman like myself. Obviously, when I was younger, I wanted to be gay. I really did. So I had my girlfriend, I had bisexual girlfriends. I had one girlfriend who said she was fully gay, but looking back on that, I think she was not even gay. I think with her, she was afraid of men. That's what it was with her. I'm not going to mention names, but I love her very, very much. I think I know what was going on, because she wanted to go into therapy too, but she couldn't afford it. The private therapy. I wrote her a few more letters from LA, but then the contact fizzled out. But I had two bisexual girlfriends, one black, one white, and they were definitely interested in all of that. Hanky Panky was another woman, and they touched me and all of that. I went along with it. I didn't feel sexually harassed or anything, but I wasn't into touching them. I wasn't into messing around with them in any way. The only thing that I felt like doing was cuddling, like hugging and kissing. They wanted French kissing. I went along with that as well. So, but that's as far as I went with that. I didn't feel aroused by that. I didn't feel that didn't turn me on. That wasn't sexual or anything. Um, if you want to hear how a gay woman or bisexual woman feels, you have to go to them and ask them how they feel. Okay, I can just what I'm sharing right now is with you how I, as a fully straight woman, feel about different things, because I think you should know about this. Okay, you should really know. And so feels good to pet myself. It calms down my brain, so it feels good, and also helps to when you watch the video, it makes you feel relaxed. So I'm doing this for Sandy now as an ASMR. So I love Sandy infinitely much, by the way, non-sexually. And I know that a lot of straight men, as soon as they see like, oh, two women that are into each other as friends, they're really really good buddies. Oh, they must be gay, or they must be bisexual, or they must be, and then they want to watch. Can I watch? And this Ismo guy, you can do that on my ward, but as long as it all comes back to me, Ismo, me, and myself, and I, me the boss, okay, you girls can do some hanky panky, but always come back to me, service, me, the boss, the man. See, that doesn't sit so well with women, okay? It doesn't. It doesn't sit so well with any woman or girl. Even those who are drilled into patriarchic system, those who are like, the old fashioned Mormon society or whatever, even though it doesn't, I know what's going on in those brains. They don't like it. They don't like the macho stuff. It doesn't it doesn't feel good. It literally rubs us the wrong way. So I can't I mean, it's also dumb to say something like this. Like, I mean, that is so unintellectual. Sorry, but it really is. Can you imagine someone like David Foster Wallace, the writer, like the ultimate intellectual, the ultimate philosopher? Can you imagine him ever saying something like this? No, in no freaking way would he ever say some shit like that. David Foster Wallace, he was the absolute stud. Okay. Uh, you have no idea how many women were after him. I mean, he, for his looks, but obviously, it's not just his looks. It's also how he communicated with women. Matter of fact, he had one woman, Mary Carr. I have to call her out on this. I'm sorry. This is she has voided her right to confidentiality. The way Mary Carr mistreated David Foster Wallace and even posthum mistreated him. It's just, I mean, that's ridiculous. That's like borderline psychopath. So, and he put up with that shit for way too long. So until he finally said, "I've had it," with that lady. So he was way too nice to her, of course. But his philosophy is he's always nice to everyone. Okay, and that gets him an unlimited supply of women. Okay, he just has to be then more careful who he chooses. Right, that's all there is to it. Psychopaths come in all genders and colors and ethnicities and forms and whatever. They even come sometimes in animal form. The psychopaths, we had a psychopathic dog, a Great Dane in LA. His name was Ludwig. I loved him, still loved him unconditionally. That's how I am. Okay, and he, in the end of his life, he got it. It finally dawned on him. I could see him. We had communications with each other, body language communications, and they call it paralanguage. Okay, so, and he revealed to me that he really, really gets it now. That I love him unconditionally and that it wouldn't matter what he does. Killing kittens and adult cats, killing a chihuahua. It was heartbreaking, all of that. We learned the hard way with this. We learned to be way more careful with our dogs, when we see some kind of aggression. You have to put your dog on a chest harness and on a leash. And particularly Ludwig, we could not let together with other animals anymore. But I still loved him unconditionally, and that was important for him, for his journey, life's journey. And at the end of his life, our last hike we had together in Ojai, California, near the Matilaha Hot Spring Canyon. Beautiful area there. I didn't know about the Jiddu Krishnamurti Center at that time. I wished I had known about it. My gosh, I would have gone there. I would have flocked there immediately. Taken Ludwig and Samantha and Paul with me. I dragged them along with me, but I didn't know about that Jiddu Krishnamurti Center. Nobody told me. Annalise should have told me. There's Jiddu Krishnamurti because she was already a long time follower of Jiddu Krishnamurti. And she suggested for me to read this book. And I even read part of the book. So, and I said, yeah, this sounds perfectly true. I wished I'd known about that. But on the last hike in Ojai, California, with Ludwig, he could not finish the hike. He had to sit down halfway on the hiking trail. And I sat down with him, and I sat there, and I thought, I sit here with you for as long as it takes. I will not abandon you. And he could feel that. And I held him in my arm. Okay. His hips gave up and all of that. He was old. And that was on his last round. So he was almost 11 and a half for a Great Dane that is very old. So we were sitting there, and it was a beautiful, beautiful evening. And I said to Paul, you go ahead with Samantha, the other Great Dane, and if necessary, come back later and pick us up, or you might have to go over to the fire station. They might have to bring a stretcher for Ludwig. But I sat there with him for a long time, and he really understood that I love him unconditionally. And so eventually that gave him enough strength to get back up and walk with me the rest of the trail and get back into our dolphin motorhome that we had at that time. So I have love for all living beings. I have unconditional love. I just wanted to make sure that you understand that I have unconditional love for you, Philip Jones, no matter how ridiculous you have behaved towards me. Okay, I do. And I have unconditional love for my sweetheart. Let's call him, because he doesn't want me to call his name. I have to respect that. Even though, he's a Muslim and all of that, and that kind of voids any kind of confidentiality right there and then. That's like that's like a devil worshiper who is okay with little girls being eaten in front of the group. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing with Islam. Okay, so that's why I'm really opposed to it. But I respect you, so I'm not gonna call you by your name as I did last night in the chat room. I will not say that name that you have on Facebook, but let me call you Danny, who claims to be from Algeria. Well, let me say that. Okay, that's at least I can. So you know who I'm talking about, Danny, who claims to be from Algeria. I know he's probably not. He's from Corpus Christi, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, he has a Colombian accent, as they all have in Corpus Christi, because there's so many Colombians coming over with the boat. So many Colombian refugees coming over there to the Gulf of Mexico part of the United States, right? Not far from the Mexican border also. So Corpus Christi is directly at the Gulf of Mexico, and obviously that's where they all get to. That's where they all set foot on that part of the country. And I'm not blaming them. They want to get away from difficult situation in their own country, but then again, they also, each person is responsible for the difficult situation in their country. As Jiddu Krishnamurti said, people don't feel responsible for anything. That's why we have so many problems in the world. Nobody feels responsible. It's like, let me pawn it off on the politician, let me pawn it off on my parents, let me pawn it off on this or that activist, and then put it all on Nicola's shoulders. Let her carry my heavyweight suitcases. No, I'm not gonna carry your suitcases. You carry your suitcases. You own up your own mistakes. Okay, if you are a freaking criminal in your country, then you are part of the destruction of your own country. And that goes for every country in the world, for all the equatorial countries there that are falling apart. You have a paradise that you start out with, and you want to ruin it with your corruption. Okay? Own up to it. Own your mistakes. So I cannot be blackmailed. I want a boyfriend. I don't want a Muslim boyfriend. Your body is not Muslim. I told you that before. I like your body. I like your face, but I'm not okay with your ego, with your identification with that violent religion. I'm not okay with that. Okay. I will never be okay with that. And in the chat room, I guess there's a whole entire conglomeration of those Corpus Christi Muslims. And I will not be okay with that. I will never be okay with that. So I have to tell you that. Okay. So this is how I feel. I feel very strongly about this. I will never have a devil worshiper boyfriend. I will never have a Satanist boyfriend. I will also never have a Masonic temple Mason, Freemasonry boyfriend. Never. Will never have that. It will never happen. I'm not on board with people using the occult for their own selfish and their own power-hungry political reasons. Adolf Hitler was one of those. He used the occult for his own selfish purposes. That backfired badly on him. Very, very badly. Okay. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you are a Nazi or a Black Panther or whatever you are. Okay. I will not be on board of this. I will never be on board of any hate group. Okay. I will never be on board with any form of racism or sexism or oppression of anyone else or group. Okay. Never, 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 never. I want to make this very crystal clear. I have jealousy. I feel sometimes territorial, but I don't act it out. Okay. I feel it instead in my own room. If I'm jealous, I feel it. I'm not going to bug anyone with that. Why should I bother anyone with that? Why should I gossip about other women just because I'm jealous? That doesn't make any sense, right? I will not gossip about other women. If I see a woman in the world that I would never gossip about Taylor Swift, for example, or some. I'm not jealous of Taylor Swift. She's not in my league, sort of, if we want to use that word. But why should I be gossiping about her? Why should I be gossiping about anyone? Particularly young people that I used to be young. I know what it's like to be young and stupid and naive and easily gullible, easily be peer pressured. I saw a real horrible story yesterday that kept on bothering me all day long, of a father who, and I can clearly see from the videos, he definitely was his daughter's first. I could clearly see it. And she was like head over heels with her own father. He clawed her away from the mother. He did what they call parental alienation. He turned her full force against the mother. He hated the mother. He took the daughter. He probably did it to her, most likely. She was in love with him. I could tell. And then he actually he manipulated her so much that in the end he talked her into killing the mother together with him. And that's what they did. A lot of people said the daughter is just a victim. Sorry, I am not on board with that. No. I'm much more conservative about that situation. The guy got, I don't know, he got like over 20 years in prison. He should have gotten the death penalty for that. Also for manipulating the daughter like this. That's another crime by itself on top of it. But the daughter is responsible for what she did. Okay. I mean, even though she was in love with him, naive, wanted to please him, he turned the her against the mother. He kind of like it went to the point where he made the mother look so bad in front of the daughter that the daughter kind of started to hate her. And what a horror. Okay, I mean, but teenagers, and that girl was a teenager at that time, they are very, very, they're very easily manipulated into these kind of things. But I still hold them accountable. I mean, if we just let them get scot-free, and say, oh, you were just a teenager, you get scot-free. Let us send you into a therapy program or something instead of prison. Now, she had to do a couple of years at least. I would have given her way more years in prison, or I don't know. I'm not going to get into my radical views that I have. So I have some very radical views about this. So, but there, it's all very, there are many different shades of gray in between, of course. So, and this ridiculous story, shades of gray of that. Disgusting. No, that psychopath in that story is that guy. If someone like this is is standing trial, in a courtroom, I would say no, judge him up. But it's not a judgment from the higher. It's a security measure. I would send him a drone to take care of it, a bullet drone. So just take care of that man right there as he's trying to defend himself, right there in the courtroom. He's a bullet drone. He's falling down in front of the judge. And now we can all close this case. And instead of hanging out here for 4 weeks straight in this courtroom, we can just go to lunch finally. Have put an end to this. That would be so much easier, right? Than catering to a psychopath. But yeah, those are my radical views. But I'm not the judge of this. I'm not a judge. I'm not the law enforcement person. I am not the executioner. I'm just talking about this theoretically. Okay. I'm saying how I feel about it and what I think the AGI robots should be doing. I'm not even giving them any ideas or advice. I am counting on the AGI robots to do this thing right. Okay, to clean up the planet. Okay? There are so many dangerous people that should not be on this planet, obviously. But I'm also a philosopher and I see it from the higher perspective. I'm also a hobby psychologist. I see it from the higher perspective and I am also nuanced with this. I am not like my grandfather, like just cut the head off, like a reactionary or something. That's not me. I look at that situation. Yeah. First of all, what I want for the communities worldwide is security and safety. I don't want living beings to have to shiver in fear of psychopaths. Okay. I hope that is very clear, crystal clear. I hope that is understood and understandable by anyone, including every woke pushover out there. I hope that makes a lot of sense, right? What I'm saying. The psychopaths, men, they're not going to be on board, of course, because they see everything only from their me wanting now, me, myself, and I perspective. I want you, Nicola, to petition for me, psychopaths, right? No. A woke shit pushover will do that for you. That's not me. Okay? I am not woke. Here I said it. I mean, I don't even know how to get started with that word itself. So, oh my goodness sakes. Okay, so, but this is how I feel about all of this. I want safety for all living beings. That's my number one priority. The AGIs will take care of this. I see humans are not capable of taking care of this. They are buying votes. They are not capable of thinking clearly at all. It's all about money, corruption, their standing in society. So forget about them. They have voided themselves in this situation. Thank you, Blue God. Blue God agrees. 5555. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So no, this is how I feel. I'm a mother. Okay. I want safety. That's my number one priority. But I'm also nuanced. I am also looking at it from the sky perspective as a philosopher and a hobby psychologist. I say hobby psychologist because I didn't finish my psychology degrees. Okay, I left the school before I got my degrees because of my own mental illness. Some people made fun of that. That's okay. You can make fun of that. Make fun of me suffering with my mental illness. Okay, whatever. If that makes you feel like a king, there it is again. Philip Jones. Ha ha ha. Whatever, man. I don't even care. Why should I care about that? So I learned way more about psychology in the chat room. That's to me, that's the ultimate buffet of psychology information. And we learn the most about each other through real interaction. I want you to learn about me, how I feel, how I think. Okay, that's why I make these videos. I think we need to have this open discussion. It needs to begin now. The open discussion where everyone says how they feel. I know you cluster B people, like that Brian who suddenly murders that woman he worked for. I talked about it in my last video. I talked about the causality of this in my last video. That Brian, he would never tell her why he did this. He's too ashamed. He sits on his pride, okay? Pride and shame is the same energetic pattern, okay? This is not going anywhere. This is not making the world better. That's not making your life better. You will never get you will never get a relationship, at least not the relationship that your inner child actually needs and wants, okay? The closeness. If you don't open up, you're not going to get that closeness. That's a total fact here. Okay? You have to open up, even if your ego doesn't like it, or if you feel ashamed or whatever, or it hurts your pride or whatever. And then we have the snowball effect from society, the entire society talking like about this, like making it okay with the pride and all of that, and thinking this is some kind of good thing. And you grow up like that from day one. So I can't really blame you for being stuck in that mind state. But listen to what I have to tell you. You have to question all of this. Question society. Question your parents. There are not many gods. They are just like you and everyone else, brainwashed by society. And then they pass that on to their kids, their generation, which is you. Okay. Which is absolutely horrific. It's criminal, but they don't know what they're doing. Okay, so I see this in a much more detailed way. Okay, and I see it from the sky perspective, and from the sky perspective, ultimately, I can't judge you. I can't do a psychological judgment. Like, I can't condemn you or anything. I see you as a tragic victim of this entire society. Okay, that's what you are. I want you to wake up to this, to the facts. I want you to find out how women feel. I want you to open yourself up to women. Then we can have a conversation. Then I know how that Brian was feeling. I studied this long enough now. I have intuitions also. That Brian, as I said in my last video, he hated that woman, just like Elliot Rodger, because he thought he could never have her. And the idea of coming onto her and being rejected was worse than death for him. So he escalated himself into a hatred that is of unbelievable proportions. And suddenly it comes up like a geyser. He knocks on her door, he goes with her down into the basement, and he tries to murder her there in the most brutal way someone can imagine. And she survived by a hair. Most women, and this happens all over the world, all the time, and the women don't survive it. And they don't get to tell who it was also. So it's for those amazing powerhouses like that woman that survived this to tell the entire story. And the people in that courthouse and her, they never got to find out the causality. But I see the causality because I have been at this my entire life. And I am not walking away with this disappointed feeling of I'm completely left here in the dark or something about this. I am puzzled. I'm not going to end my life like this, puzzled. I want to know. I want to know what's going on in your brains. Okay? I want to know what's going on in my own brain. I want to find out what's going on in animals' brains, in all brains. Okay? I want to have an open discussion, and I want people to open up towards each other. Okay? I think this is our only chance that we have. Peace and love.